Morning, everyone. I'm Leah Dixon here from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. Sorry, I'm popping on a little bit late this morning. Time just got away from me today. It's my first week back to work after spring break, and it's been a whirlwind. So I am so happy to have some time in my craft room today. I haven't crafted for the last 2 days, which is really odd for me. And today I'm bringing you the Happy Hibiscus bundle. So this is an online exclusive. I think I had a post about it on Monday. Stampin' Up's been doing this new thing for about a year now where every 2 months, I think it is, they release some new product, not in a catalog, but in an online only format. And so this was one of them. Good morning, Kim. So I've actually had this bundle for a little while, and I don't know, the weather wasn't right. I couldn't handle bringing it out. So now I really want summer here. So let's craft and hope that we can create some springtime. So I'm going to switch over to my desktop and I'm going to show you this one. It's kind of a cool one because it's got a hybrid embossing folder in it. We've had a few of these in the past, and they're really fun to use. All right, so this is, actually, sorry, I'm just going to wiggle my camera for a second here. There we go. So this is the stamp set that comes in the bundle. We've got some beautiful outlines, and these stamps are actually kind of cool because they stamp as one. It's one whole image, which makes it quick and easy for die cutting because the die is also all 3 flowers on one die, but it cuts them out separately. And then we have separately the stamps that allow us to color these flowers, which means we could actually make all 3 of these different colors and then still stamp them at once, die cut them at once, but fill in the color separately. You don't have to use the stamps to fill them in. You could watercolor them. You could use blends, lots of different ways to color them, or don't. Just leave the image outline in color and don't bother coloring in the inside at all. And then we have the same thing happening with our leaves. We've got the outside frame and then the inside coloring piece, and then 3 beautiful sentiments. So that is our stamp set. Now to go with that, we have the dies. And so we have the dies that cut out the leaf, cut out the flowers, but then we have some additional flowers that are just really beautiful. 2 different label dies and 2 different leaf dies. And these coordinate with the embossing folder that I left behind me because today I'm going to have to do what I hate doing, which is bring my big machine into the screen because this die is giant. Not sure. I think it's actually, it's 6 by 6. And so this die is absolutely gorgeous, and we can cut out the flowers that are already embossed as well, which is so cool. You have it as well and haven't used them. I know, it just hasn't, it hasn't felt right. So finally I'm ready to kind of try and inspire spring by crafting. All right, so the first card that we're going to create today is actually using the materials in kind of the simplest way you can. So we are just going to grab an embossed piece, and I've actually already pre-embossed it. Let's pop those over there. We're going to grab an embossed piece and glue it down. And then I've just got a piece of DSP. I've paired this set up with the Country Woods Designer Series paper. So if you haven't seen it, it is, bring it over here. It is a whole bunch of different wood grain papers in just some really nice blues, yellows, petal pink, pool party, different textures, different wood grains, and then even a fun one that's like a whole bunch of different wood grains, and then the blue. So really nice Designer Series paper set. We've had it for a while and I just can't stop using it. I love it. And so I thought, it's that weather worn, like sea salt worn wood that you see everywhere in Hawaii. and it's just kind of cool. So we're going to take those two pieces and glue them down onto our card front, just side by side. So you can use whatever adhesive you like. Personally, I always use liquid glue. Yeah, so I'm just going to start in here. I just typically do the edges with a very small layer and then pop that on. There we go. And then same with our DSP, just a really small layer along the edges. And I do try to like spread it out so that I don't have any spots that actually look white, because then it's not going to like leave wrinkles and stuff in my DSP. All right, and then this one, I'm just popping it right up along the edge of the embossed layer, just like that. You could even put it slightly over the edge if you wanted. Totally up to you. All right. So with that done, we are going to now work on creating a label for our card, and I'm using the textured notes dies for this. So these dies are a whole bunch of layered rectangles, but each of the rectangles has a different pattern along the edging. So they're really, really cool, very, very fancy look to your card with very minimal work. Now today though, I didn't want a rectangle. So I'm going to show you how to create not a rectangle. So the first thing I did was I die cut my rectangle. Oh, good morning, Gail. I die cut my rectangle. Now you can see I didn't even use a full piece here. It doesn't matter because of course I'm trying to make this into a square. Once you have your die cut rectangle, you're going to grab your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine again. I can actually use my mini for this. And we're going to pop our plates in here. And I'm going to take my die and put it over top of what I've already die cut. And I'm going to kind of run it along until it feels like it catches. So it's going to actually feel like it's hard for me to do it kind of off the screen like that. A bit of an odd angle for my arms. All right, there we go. So I put that down until it kind of catches. So it's not quite square, but it's square enough. It's going to make a much smaller image. Good morning, Lila. And with that done, I'm going to put it back down on here. So you can see I've got an embossed layer there. This is kind of caught, like it won't move around on me now. And we're going to roll that through. And I'm not even going to roll it all the way through. I'm just rolling it until that one end cuts. And then I can roll it back again. And what that's done now is it's cut a new shape. So now I have an almost square, which is what I was looking for. And then this little piece, you can save it for something else. If you had done a full edge, you'd have like actually one end that was fully die cut as well. So you can save that for something. Use it on another project. So it's just a nice way to be able to take our rectangles and make them into either a different shaped rectangle or in this case, something that's almost a square. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to turn my square so that it's just slightly longer horizontally. And I'm going to grab my sentiment, thanks for being so kind. And we're going to stamp that onto the right-hand side of our square. And actually, did I do it kind of upper? Yeah, so upper right-hand side. Oh, and I just realized I used the wrong starting die. So this might actually end up being a little too small for what I wanted. Well, we'll make it work. That's okay. So you can see here that actually on my original, I used a different pattern that is just slightly larger than what I've now created, but that's okay. it's kind of a similar effect and it's not too far off in size. All right. So with that done, I am actually going to glue this straight to my card front, but I'm not going to put any glue right in this area because I want to be able to tuck a leaf under there. So I'm just going to glue kind of around the top and bottom and the other side. Okay, and I'm going to leave that open. And we're going to take that and right about there. I'm going to glue that down. There. All right. Not very straight. That's why I like liquid glue. I can pick that up and straighten that out. There we go. All right, so that is glued to our card front. Now we get to start creating like the flowers and leaves and all that fun stuff for this card. So we've got a piece of basic white cardstock here, and I just cut it big enough that I can do all 3 flowers stamped onto this piece. I'm actually only using 2 of them, but that's okay. So we're going to get our Highland Heather ink again. So same color ink we used for our sentiment. And I'm going to ink up all 3 flowers. If you really wanted to save some paper, you could just go ahead and ink up just 2 of the flowers and use a smaller piece of paper. I'm going to save this flower, and then I've got a ready-made flower for some other project. So I'm still going to stamp it and color it and die cut it, and then I'll just have it as an extra. All right, so we've got that stamped. Now we're going to take our Highland Heather ink and we're going to stamp off before we color these in. So I'm just going to grab a scrap paper to stamp off on. There we go. I'll start with our largest flower. So we're just going to ink that up, stamp it off. I love stamping off as well because then you can see if you had originally inked your whole thing properly as well. And then voila, we've got our image stamped. And then we just repeat the process for the next 2 flowers. So the largest one and the smallest one are pretty easy to line up. This medium one, you want to just look for, I'll show you once I'm finished stamping. There's this little dip down that's kind of a noticeable round part on your stamp. You just want to look for that and line that up. So it's pretty easy to line up as well, but it is the trickiest of the 3. And then our last little flower here. There we go. All right. So now that we have all 3 of our flowers stamped, we get to cut these out. And like these flowers are really that simple. You could stamp this in black and then color each of them differently. And then when it comes time to die cut, it is 1 die, and we just pop it right over top and die cut our pieces. And now I believe this is actually even small enough that we can use the mini machine. I'm only going to have to bring my big machine into the screen when we do some embossing, because that embossing folder is giant. All right, so we'll pop these on here. These line up so easily. Oops. Unless you shake your hand at the last second and bump it out of the way. All right. There. They're also pretty forgiving, like if you don't get them exact, but they're pretty easy to get exact. And then it's nice because you don't have to worry about them wiggling around. Once the first edge catches, everything's held in place and your other dies aren't going to wiggle out of place. So really nice. All right. There's our piece. Then just pop these out and we are good to go. So I have a flower to save for another project and these 2 beauties to put onto my card front today. So I'm going to put these 2 on with dimensionals. So I'm just going to put one on the back of the smaller piece, and I'm going to put 3 onto the back of my larger flower. I am actually going to place my largest flower first. And so you want to orient it so that it's like upright, like with the pistil and everything up. And then you don't want to cover your words. And I did want to cover my corner. That was important to me. All right, so that's on there. Then we take our little flower and I just tucked it in like that. Again, so we're not covering our words, and I did want to cover the edge. And then to finish this off, I have got some leaves. I've already pre-cut these using Pool Party cardstock. And I'm just going to put a mini glue dot on the back of each. You could also put just a dab of liquid glue. Oh, that never happens. I actually picked up the covering, not the glue dot. All right, so there, I've got my glue dot on there. Now remember, I didn't glue this edge. So now I can pop that under and put it in place. And there we go. And then those guys get their mini glue dots. And this one I'm going to put down here. And the goal is I want to cover up just some of where the DSP meets the embossed layer. And this one is going to go up on a diagonal out the top. Just like that. All right. Now we're not quite finished. I wanted to add some gems to this, but I didn't want to just do plain old gems. So we have 3 white flowers here cut using the flower dies in this set. We're going to put those on and then put the gems in the centers of them. So again, I'm going to use mini glue dots for this. These ones though, I want to place them a bit more particularly. So I'm going to use my take your pick tool. I love this for when I want to place something exactly somewhere. There we go. And like that. All right. And now I am going to place these before I put my gems on. So this one I'm going to put over here. That one up there. And this one right up there. All right, so I have created like a little triangle on the side of my card. And then I am going to be using the, what are these called? The 2024-2026 In Color Shimmer Gems. So I have just got a real assortment of sizes and stuff here. I'm going to use the larger ones on the larger flower and the smaller ones on the smaller flower. And so for this particular one, I'm using Summer Splash for the center. The shimmer gems are close enough to Pool Party that I think it matches up really beautifully. Pool Party and Summer Splash go together so well, that nice tone-on-tone look. Oh, yikes. Come on. There we go. And so I've used that Summer Splash shimmer gem there in the center. All right. So I'll just give you guys a quick look at a proper pack of those gems. So you actually get, I've got a hidden color. You actually get all 5 of the 2024-2026 in colors in here in the 2 different sizes. So they're really beautiful, beautiful gems. And a nice tropical feel. All of the colors are. All right. Yeah, just gluing the 3 sides. If you know that you're going to be tucking something, it's just makes it so much easier. And you don't have to try and place the leaf before you glue things down. And it's going to stay in place. I mean, you've still glued 3 sides. Yeah, so that is our first card in today's card class to go. Now, I don't think I mentioned at the beginning that this is my card class to go. I do 1 a month. And so with a $65 order before shipping and taxes using my host code, you can actually earn the materials to make 6 cards, 2 of each of the 3 designs I'll show today. So you'll get all the cardstock and embellishments and stuff that you need to recreate these. You just need to have your own stamps, ink, dyes, and adhesives at home. They don't send those, but that's what you can purchase in your $65 order. All right, so our second card is so pretty. They're all pretty. It's the hibiscus. It's just gorgeous. Is right here. So this one, again, is using our Country Woods DSP. We've used our stamp set and dies and embossing folder with a little bit of fussy cutting. So let's get started putting this together. I'm going to actually move this out of the way. Oh, something in my eye. Ouch. All right. So again, I've got a thick, basic white background. But we're going to cover up most of it with a misty moonlight embossed background. So I just took a piece of misty moonlight and embossed the whole thing, and we're just going to glue that straight down to our card front. So here we go, just along the edges, and that goes right in the middle. So along with the materials to make the 6 cards, the 2 of each of the 3 designs, you actually also receive a printable PDF tutorial. It gives you all the measurements of everything, all the step-by-step instructions, and it also has a link back to this video on it, so you can watch as well as read what to do, which means you can make a ton of these, not just what I send you, but you've got all the measurements, so you can change up your colors and your DSPs and everything. All right, so now I've got a piece of DSP here, and I am gluing it to another Textured Notes die cut. This one I didn't modify at all. I just die cut it as it was meant to be, and this piece just fits in there nicely. So that just creates a really nice look with the wood grain for one, the embossed piece for the other. And we're going to put this down right in the center of our card using dimensionals. So we'll just pop them on here. When I do something like this, I tend to use 5, 1 in each corner, and then 1 in the middle. You guys can see I'm using up all my edgings right now. There we go. And so this, actually, I think I'm going to, oops, don't stick yet. There we go. So as straight as you can, right in the middle. Voila. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is I've got a die cut circle. This circle die is actually from our Happy Hibiscus bundle. And I'm not actually going to stamp my sentiment on it, because the sentiment in the kit that fits nicely there is that thanks that we've already used. And I actually wanted a congratulations card. So we're going to do our sentiment on a piece of scrap paper. Now, I thought I had one here. Oh, well, I'll just grab one from my side table. So you just need a small piece of basic white for this. And we're going to grab our Misty Moonlight ink. If you don't have Misty Moonlight, then Night of Navy or really any other dark blue is going to work really well for this. All we're doing is stamping our sentiment, and that's the only thing being stamped in blue. So pick your favorite dark blue that's going to complement this and stamp it. And then we're going to fussy cut it. So you can get as fussy as you want with this. I am going to get quite fussy. I'm even going in all the way here on the edge of this T. And I like to leave a tiny white border around it. And then we're just going to really wiggle our way around. So it's always easiest if you kind of try and keep your scissors still and then twist your paper around what you're doing. Okay. Now on this side, I'm not going to cut back in on the T. I'm just going to cut down and continue along. I'm also not going to go crazy and go inside my C. The biggest reason for not doing that is because now I've left myself a really nice spot to put a dimensional to help hold this in place on my card. All right, and keep going. All right. So we're almost done here. And, you know, if you don't love this, we do have die sets in our catalog that have sentiments they have fussy cut dies that go with them, basically. Stamp your sentiment, pop the die over top of it, and then it makes it look like it fussy cut it for you. So you could always grab one of those and use one of those sentiments instead of the one that came in this bundle. Or don't fussy cut it. Just cut it out on like a 1/2-inch strip and do it that way. You don't have to be all crazy with the cutting. All right, so we've got that piece done. We're going to be putting them on our card just like that. But I want to get our flowers done first so that I can place them and then tuck this in behind. So we're going to move these pieces out of the way. Oh, now where did my piece go? Oh, it must have gone off to the side. Oh, that's weird. I cut it. Where did I put it? Oh, I left it on the table behind me. Interesting. Okay, so I have another piece of basic white cardstock that is literally just big enough for these flowers again. I'm stamping in a different color though, so let's clean these up. Oh, hi, Cindy. I always cut the top when I fussy cut a sentiment because the top is usually the side that's fussiest. So I tend to cut the top first, do all the fussy stuff first, and then cut the kind of like easier bottom second. Yeah. All right, so we've cleaned up our stamp because now we're going to be using a lighter color. We're going to be using our Fresh Freesia. And so just like we did on our last one, we are going to ink up our image and stamp it onto our cardstock. And then just like we did with our last one, we are going to stamp off and fill these flowers. Now this time we are using all three. So I should clean all those flowers because they all have Highland Heather on them from our last card. There we go. Okay, so now they are all clean. We can grab back that scrap paper and we're going to stamp or ink, stamp, and then stamp. All right. Ink, stamp off, and then stamp. And our last one. Stamp off and stamp. There we go. Okay, these are beautiful. I love this whole set. Like it stamps so easily. They're so pretty. And as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I might make some DSP. I should start doing my stamp off on a piece of actual cardstock and then saving it because that is just gorgeous. All right, so just like we did before, we're going to need our die, but we're going to change it up. Instead of just running this through my mini machine and die cutting it, what we're actually going to do is we are going to put our die in. So it kind of, you can feel it where it will like lock in place on here. Okay, so we're going to put it down. My blades are up. And then with my blades locked in place on my embossing folder, I'm going to bring my flowers that I've stamped in and line them up inside those dies. And then I'm going to close this. All right, so my whole thing is closed now. I have my paper inside with my flowers and my dies, and it's all lined up with the embossing that's in this folder. Oh, don't they smell wonderful? I know mine come out in my garden usually in July. All right, so now I do need my big machine for this. So I'm just going to go grab that. So when you're doing this, you've got your big machine. We've got our plate number 1. Then we take our little sandwich here that we created with everything all lined up. And then we take our specialty plate number 4 and roll that through. All right. So that is done. I can move this big machine out of the way. And here we go. Now, when I pull these out, I have got some beautifully textured, like all nice and curved and textured and stamped and die cut all in one go. And so that's just another way that we can use this and make some really, really beautiful things. So I'm just going to pop those off to the side. So now that we have our gorgeous flowers all done here, let's bring back in our card base. And we're going to start putting our flowers on. Now I'm going to put these all on with dimensionals. Looks like I need a new sheet though. I used up the last of mine. Oh, and I don't even have one right here at my desk. All right, I'll be right back. Okay. Going through dimensionals like they're going out of style. All right, so we're going to put just 1 on the back of our little one. I'm only using 1 on this medium one, and then I'll do 3 on my bigger one. Okay, so I am actually going to place my biggest one first, and I'm going to kind of put my circle in place. I want my circle to be below my corner. Okay, so with that in mind, now I'm going to place my first flower. So I'm going to want it kind of like that. All right, so leave that circle in place. Take my second flower, and I'm going to tuck it under, and I want it going off the other side. Okay, and then finally, this little baby flower is going to come on in here and fill in that little gap. All right. Now that we've got that all kind of laid out and we know where it's all going, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this circle, but only on half of it. Okay, I don't want it sticking everywhere. So I've got just half of it, and then I'll slide it into place. So I don't have any glue out here. All right. Now I'm going to take my congratulations, and I'm only going to use 2 mini dimensionals on here. I've got minis somewhere. There we go. So I'm going to put 1 on the back of that C that we purposefully left full and like not cut out, and 1 on like behind the TUL. So we've got nice big spaces there. Peel those backings off. And I don't want to cover up my flowers too much, but I also don't want to go off of my card. So there we go. That works for me. All right, and we do have a space under here. It's okay. We're going to fill it with some gems. All right, so with that done, we can now start adding in some of our accents. So I've got some more pre-cut pool party leaves, and I have got 3 fresh freesia flowers already cut as well. Now I've used pool party leaves on all of my cards because I wanted to keep materials minimal and easy for you guys to recreate on your own. But you could go ahead and add in any color here that you think would suit it. I had actually thought that it might be nice to have some soft sea foam, or even if you wanted to go with a little bit of a brighter look, doing some granny apple green. But in the sake of keeping these feeling like salt worn and keeping the color combo simple, I did all 3 cards with pool party leaves. All right, so I've just done like a little diagonal here of flowers and leaves and everything, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of the space with flowers and then gems. So I'm going to take my flowers, and again, you could use a glue, like a little dab of glue on the back, or these mini glue dots. I like mini glue dots for this because nothing can kind of slide around. Once it's placed, it's placed. All right, and one more. I also have a ton of these mini glue dots left over from various paper pumpkins, so might as well use them up. All right, so I'm going to put one flower there, one flower over here. So we've filled in that space that we had kind of left at the bottom. And then we're going to finish up our triangle and put one up there. There we go. And now we are going to add our gems onto this card. So I'm going to bring in my little assortment here again. Even have 2 or 3 here in a little baggie. That's kind of weird. Just trying to consolidate all the bits that I've got. I've got little pieces everywhere in my room. All right, so a large one on my large flower, and I'm also going to use a second large one up in that open space. Oh, if it'll come off the backing, there we go. I'm going to use a second large one up in this open space, and then we'll use small ones. Oh, come on, don't stick to my desk. I'm going to use another small one in that open space, and we're going to use small ones on the 2 remaining flowers. And so I am using, yes, this is Petunia Pop, because these are the In Colors gems. But again, the Petunia Pop in shimmer gem format goes so nicely with the Fresh Freesia. And when you're pairing up cardstocks, the Fresh Freesia and Petunia Pop work together so, so well. All right, so I love when our In Colors really work well with our regular colors. So that is our second card for this card class to go. Oh, good morning, Louisa. Oh, I'm glad you like it. We will be playing with this one at our next card club as well, in a slightly different color scheme, but I think you're going to love it. All right, so that is card number 2. I seem to have lost card number 1. That's interesting. I'll hopefully find it before the end of the video so I can show you all 3. All right, so that was just a different way doing the stamping and embossing. Now I'll bring in our 3rd card. There we go. Getting a bit of a disaster happening on my table. All right, now I really wish I could find the first set of cards though. Oh, there they are. Okay, good. Whew. So there's the first 2 cards from today's card class. So using kind of purples and blues. And for this last one, we're going to move into kind of more the pinks. And this is actually petal pink. So it's got a little bit of an orange tinge to it. And it's going to work beautifully with our peach pie gems from those shimmer gems. All right. So this one, again, incorporates the textured notes dies. These are just, they're beautiful, beautiful dies. So I'm going to move that to the side, and I'm going to show you on this one, because I didn't go with a white card base, I am actually going to do an insert. And because the front of my card on this one has the beautiful textured notes die cutting, I thought it would be really nice that our insert as well mimicked that. So I actually cut 2 of them And so your insert on this card will have the textured notes frame as well. So when you place your order and get this card kit for free, you actually get like all these textured notes pieces die cut for you. So you don't even need to own them. But I can guarantee you that after you have made these cards and played with them, every card you look at, you're going to think, oh, that straight edge cut for that 4 by 5 1/4 piece, that looks so boring. I want the textured notes there now. I can't stop myself now. It's like every card I make, like it's missing something. It needs the border. They're really subtle, but it's one of those things that, you know, you don't notice it, but you miss it when it's not there. So, all right. So we've got our insert and our front cover glued down. And now we need to start building up this flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut a piece of DSP because apparently I didn't already die cut it for this card. All right, so we are going to grab, there's one that's already been cut. We are going to grab a piece of our DSP. Isn't this beautiful? And we're going to use one of our textured notes dies to cut this. But I got to cut this down so it'll fit in my machine. Sorry, guys. All right. So which one is this? That's the dashes and dots. All right. So I can use my mini machine for this. And we're going to pull this one in, pop this on, and die cut this. Now, there we go. Cut it a little bigger than it needed to be. All right, so we do want the wood grain going horizontally. So do pay attention to the wood grain on these papers if you're recreating these with your own supplies, not the ones I send you, because you do want that wood grain going across your card. All right. So you can see how easily these textured notes cut out as well. Like they're really, this bigger one can get stuck a little bit, but the rest of them cut out just really smoothly, really beautifully, nice crisp cuts. So this piece we're going to glue down to the very center of our card. Well, I say the very center, but that's not my forte. So as close as you can and as straight as you can to the center of your card. There we go. All right. Now everything else is going to be popped up or mini glue dotted. So we have got our little sentiment here. I'm going to use the third sentiment that comes in this stamp set. It says, "You make me smile." Now I am stamping mine in gray granite. But if you don't have gray granite, crumb cake, a stamped off early espresso, or even if you wanted it to be really bold, a full strength early espresso is going to work on here. Really just any kind of neutral, woody kind of color. So that was gray granite. All right, with that done, we can actually pop this onto our card right now using dimensionals. And I'm just going to put, I don't know, 2 or 3 on here, maybe 3. It's kind of one of those lengths. It's probably short enough for 2, but all right. So when we put this on, kind of center it, but I want it sticking off the edge, like go past the DSP edge. Okay. Now let's create our flower. So we have got, let's move all that out of the way. We have a piece here. Again, you do not have to stamp all 3. You totally don't have to. You could just stamp 1 and use a smaller piece of paper and just cut out the 1. Now I am going to stamp this in full strength petal pink, and I am going to do all three. Okay. There we go. So petal pink, full strength on here. There we go. And I am also going to die cut and emboss these ones, but I'm actually not going to color them in right now. I'm going to show you another way that you can add color to your flowers. So I've stamped that kind of background piece. We're now going to grab this and our die, and I've shown you already running it through, so I'm not going to bring it on screen to run it through this time, but I'll show you the process of making the sandwich again. So I do know that they stick better, like they will lock in place better on the other side, but the problem with that is then your paper's not between your die and everything. So this side they lock a little less well, but they do lock in place. So wiggle them until you find them click. With them in place, grab your image and keep those in place. Line your image up inside your die. And once you've got everything lined up, you hold it in place and close your sandwich. All right, so just like that. So now I've got my sandwich created, and I'm going to take this over to my big machine and just roll it through. All right. There we go. All right, so I've got that rolled through, and pull these out. They're so pretty. So pretty. And now I am actually only using my largest hibiscus here for this particular card. I am going to take my hibiscus. I'm going to bring back my petal pink ink. And that's it. That's the one. Grab one of my blending brushes. I prefer using the small ones, but you can use any blending brush you want. And I am going to actually blend the color on. And what's cool about doing this, like I've blended pretty much the whole flower, but you could do this to create just like a little bit of color at the tips of the petals. I know my hibiscus that grows in my yard, actually, I would come in and put the color in the center. I have these beautiful, like berry burst centered hibiscus with white petals on the outside. So I would just come in if I was trying to recreate my garden and do that. So it's nice to use the blending brush to add the color. You can make it as dark or as light as you'd like. Put it just on the tips. You could use more than one color. Do kind of the center one color, do the outside another. And yeah, you just have a lot of control over what's happening with the color of your flower when you use the blending brushes. Now, in this case, my pistil and pollen and everything came out quite dark. But if yours is maybe not standing out as much as you would like, no, that's dark. I grabbed on my original one, I just grabbed my light peach pie, and just where it is raised up, I came in with my peach pie blends and just kind of gave it a little bit of extra color. So especially if you're using different colors for your flower, that's going to help that pollen kind of pop out like it would on the real flower as well. All right, so that's how we created our floral image for this card. So I'm going to bring it in here, and I'm going to be popping it on like this. So I'm going to put 3 on it, but none up near where the pollen is. And lucky for me, when I used my blends on here, it went right through, so I can see exactly where I don't want any dimensionals. Because that part's going to be going over top of where her sentiment is. All right, so just three dimensionals there. And I popped that on so that it covers up the one end of the sentiment label. All right, so we've got that on. Now we're going to add in our leaves and our flowers, and then add in our gems. So again, I'm going to be using Pool Party leaves. Now I don't seem to have them cut right here with this card. That's weird. So I'm just using, it's actually great because these fit so nicely on just the little strips of paper, because you can kind of put them in on an angle and whatever you want. So I'll just quickly die cut too. You guys can see how nicely these pop out. Like they're not finicky at all. So I just put that on. I like to put it on a bit of a diagonal. And roll that one through. Yeah, Lila, it is such a nice bundle. Oops. There we go. And see how that just fell right out. Like it's just so nice. And then I just come back in and put the next one turned the other way. So we're really maximizing space here on our little strip of paper. And there's our last one, because we're only using 2 leaves on this card. And so, and then, oh, that one didn't pop out quite as easily. So we just take our Take Your Pick tool and voila. So I've had nothing but a great experience using all of the die cuts in this set. I cannot stand die sets that get finicky and like that you have to really work to get the pieces out. That drives me crazy. So luckily that has not been the case at all with any of the dies in this set. And again, I'm not holding these down with much. I am putting a singular mini glue dot on the back of each leaf and on the back of each flower. So really not much happening here for holding them in place, but it's enough. All right, so with all those on there, we're going to pull our backings off, and then these leaves, I'm actually just tucking them in so that they're both kind of facing forward. Okay, come on. And so just like that. And then with our flowers, we're going to create that triangle again. So I'm going to come down here, put in a flower up here, and almost even tuck it under. There we go. And then one up along the top. So I like how they're on the DSP and falling off onto the white. I think it just adds to our card when we do that. And then I'm going to bring in my gems here, all my little bits, and we're going to use one large one, and this time we're using Peach Pie. One large one on our large flower, and then small ones on our small flowers. There we go. And that is our 3rd card created for this month's card class to go. So we've got our petal pink flowers, Fresh Freesia with Misty Moonlight, and Highland Heather with Pool Party. So when you place a $65 order before shipping and taxes with me, you will get the card kit to make 2 of each of these 3 designs. And then the gems and everything, you'll get what you need to create your 6 cards as well. So when you place your order, you're going to want to grab the Happy Hibiscus bundle. It is an online only bundle. I believe it came out at the beginning of March. And so this is an online only bundle. The bundle comes with your stamp set, your dies, and your embossing folder, because it's a hybrid embossing folder. So you can grab that bundle. You're going to need your inks and your adhesives, and then I will send you any of the textured notes die cut. I'll even have this one die cut down to a square size for you. And then you'll do your own embossing and stamping and die cutting and everything like that. But the textured notes will come pre-cut for you, and all of your DSP bits and your gems and everything. So that is this month's card class to go. This is available until April 8th. So as long as you've, and as long as you've placed your order before 10 o'clock on the 9th, because on the 9th, after my live video, is when I will go through and cut all the kits and mail them out for people. So that is it. And then I'm not sure if I actually wrote it down, but almost always for my card classes, and definitely for this month as well, if you actually bump your order up to a $75 order instead of $65, I will actually include a package of embellishments in there for you as a special thank you. So that is it for this month. Please keep an eye on my Facebook, but also if you want to be able to view these videos like for a good long time and come back to them, make sure you pop over to my YouTube channel, Stampin' with Leah, and follow me there, because Facebook is doing this thing now where they're deleting videos after, I think it's 14 days. So this video will be here for 14 days. The pictures of the cards that I post of these cards tomorrow will be here forever. But if you want to be able to access the videos and watch the replays and how did she do that and follow along and make your own, you're going to want to have access to those on YouTube. So go follow me there and go back and check out all the other stuff I've done. I do regular paper pumpkins with alternatives, and yeah, it's just a fun resource to have, and a little bit more reliable than Facebook is becoming. So hope you follow me over there. All right. Have a great day, everyone. I'll be live again next week. Yeah, what day is it today? Today's the 2nd. So yeah, I'll be live again next week on April 9th for another little video. It's not a card class. It's usually just a solo card on the 2nd Wednesday of the month. And then shortly after that with my paper pumpkin whenever it arrives. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks, Cindy.